What's up, you guys? So this is Gabby, and what are we going to talk about today? Honestly, today is going to be a whole conglomerate of different conversations and discussions. So I want to make more content for you guys. I want to connect more with you guys. The only problem and issue that I've been finding with doing that is that I have heightened the level of quality of my videos. So I do a lot more behind the scenes prep work to shoot a video than I used to do in the past. And because of that, I feel like it takes so much time and energy for me to sit down and actually do all of the prep work to make a video. Like I have to set up these lightings. I'm like setting up the backdrop. I have to put my camera together. I have to make sure my batteries are charged. I have to hook up the mic, like all this extra stuff. It's just a barrier. In order to get out of that a little bit and to actually provide you guys with more content that I want to make all this stuff, but I just don't have the time to do this prep work to make higher quality videos. So I hope you guys are okay with the compromise of me connecting with you more, making more videos, but lowering the video quality a bit. It will just make it easier for me, as I mentioned, to actually do these videos. So that's why today this is going to be a little bit more casual. This background is very, very boring. The lighting is not as good, but let's just roll with it. So in this video, I want to answer a question that a viewer asked me a few days ago. On my day in the life video, I talked about how I am in the process of getting a coaching certification. So I have been helping people with developing a career path for themselves and getting over the stumbling blocks they may have from getting to where they are today to their ideal career. I've been doing this informally for years via my YouTube channel and different job positions. I've been in admissions, I've been in student services, etc. So now I am trying to formalize that coaching that I have been doing anyway. And I am going through a certified training program. So I'm learning different models of change. I'm learning more about the mindset and how different conscious and subconscious messages can be impacting people and their goals. You know, there's a lot of goals that we have as individuals, but we may find that, you know, there's a limit, there's a stumbling block getting in our way of reaching that goal. So sitting down with a coach is a good way to just have someone who is experienced in assisting people in identifying roadblocks and developing a plan of action so that they can move further in their lives. So I am focusing more on helping people in their careers with getting from point A to point whatever, and just getting to the next step in their career journeys. So yeah, it's super exciting. But a question that I got was, you know, what is the difference between coaching and therapy, or, you know, coaching and counseling, that kind of thing. So I want to touch on that in this video because it is a difference. I have a background in psychology. That's what my bachelor's is in. I also have my master's in social work. Although I did focus on macro practice, the first year, even if you focus on a more macro area in your MSW program, you're going to have to take those general social work classes so that everyone is on the same page and has that basis of, you know, working with individuals one-on-one. So I took those general social work classes, and a lot of what we talked about was focused more on the therapeutic side. So, you know, I learned the basics of certain DSM mental health issues, and I kind of learned therapeutic techniques that can be used to help people struggling with mental illnesses or certain life issues. So I kind of have a basis of that, but through my coaching, I am not going to be giving therapy to anyone because I am not trained. I respect therapists, and I respect the time and energy and training that they put into it. So I'm not claiming myself to be a therapist, and I tell everyone that I work with that that's not what they're going to get from me. So I got this question from a viewer: what is the difference between coaching and therapy? And I have seen a few videos on this topic, but it's usually from the perspective of the therapist. So I thought it would be cool to be the perspective of the coach, and also a coach that has a psychology background, a social work background. Since I was exposed to both, I feel like I can kind of speak from that angle. So hopefully this video helps to clarify it. And also, if you are a social worker who is interested in one day coaching, this video can be helpful for you as well. There's actually a nice amount of social workers who also have their coaching certification. And it makes a lot of sense because we are interested in bettering the lives of individuals. So coaching and coaches are also interested in that. So it's some overlap there. The main goal is that we are interested in helping our clients to get to a better stage in their lives and in their progress. So that is kind of the overall similarity. But let's talk about the differences. And, that's what this video is going to really be about. So as a coach, I'm not really focused on hearing about your past issues or kind of going into why you do the things that you do or why you think the way that you think, and understand why you're having the roadblocks. Now, I may need to ask a few questions that gets to the why in order for us to make a plan of action to what you can change in order to start taking the right steps. But it's not going to be whole sessions focused on that. I am very much focused on the future and helping you to get from where you are today to the future. We won't be revisiting the past and doing that kind of thing.
My earliest memory was being alone behind a Trader Joe's in Glendale. I thought my mother was this package of soft tofu that had fallen behind the dumpster.
I don't have the training to do that. And I think when you do that type of therapeutic technique of going to the past and revisiting past traumatic events, you have to have the training to properly debrief with that person. And I don't currently have that type of training. So nope, not interested in doing that. I don't know why my hair looked like that for a second. Okay, so if you are a person who thinks that the reason you're not able to move forward in your life is because of something that happened in childhood or something traumatic that happened a few years back or even a few weeks back, that would be an opportunity for you to see a therapist as opposed to a coach, because a coach is really about where are you today and how can we get you to your future. Also, if something is holding you back to the point where you are unable to make steps forward, you may not see any benefits from a coach at this time, because whatever issues you may be struggling with is holding you back from moving forward. It's not a problem for a coach to see someone who is struggling with the mental illness. If you have a mental illness diagnosis, that's fine. You can get coaching as long as it's not interfering with you making change and you setting and working towards your goals. And there's some people who see a therapist along with seeing a coach, and that's totally okay. But the coach is not going to be the one who diagnoses a mental illness or helps you with alleviating or coping with the mental illness. That's something that a therapist is going to do. If any coach that is not a certified therapist tries to do that, run away quickly.
Run, Forrest! Run away! Hurry!
Their practices are very irresponsible in nature. Also, this is going to be number two. The second difference is that there is usually a strong time limit when it comes to working with a coach. Coaches don't typically work with people on a long-term, ongoing basis. Usually it's a 3-month package, 6-month package, and every session is very focused on, okay, let's get through this action step. Let's keep moving forward. If it's to the point where you're seeing the coach for months and months and months and no progress is being shown, the coach probably needs to let you know, hey, this is no longer working for us. Let me refer you to another specialist that can assist you with some of the roadblocks. And oftentimes that specialist or other specialist may be a therapist. So yeah, Coaching gets a strict time limit. Like me, I have 3-month coaching sessions. And with therapists, I know sometimes therapy is a time limit as well, but it's not as strict. I know some people who may have been seeing a therapist for years, seeing the same therapist. But usually the struggles that you're dealing with when you're going to therapy is more complex, more advanced, so it makes sense that you're seeing someone for longer. Not saying that the problems or the goals you're trying to reach through a coach, not minimizing that, because that's important too. Like I said, we're not going into your past. We're not trying to discover the why and teaching you different coping strategies. So it's a little bit more straightforward with a coach. So that time limit is more strict. It's not as long-term and ongoing of a relationship. That's the second. And then the third difference I would say is that as a therapist, you are looked at as the expert. You have gotten all of this schooling, all of this training, and you are going to assist the client as the expert. But as a coach, it's a little bit different. Yes, we're learning these techniques and strategies, and yes, we may have life experiences that can assist us in helping others who are interested in moving forward. It's more, hey, you are the expert of your own life. You have what you need within you. The answers are within you. I'm just gonna use different strategies and techniques to reel that out of you, to pull that out of you so that you can more clearly see it. That's kind of how a coach focuses on the situation. The fourth difference is that therapists are licensed and the field of therapy is a regulated industry. Coaching is not a regulated industry. I am an advocate for getting a coaching certification, but even when you're certified, you're still not regulated. There's an organization called the International Coaching Federation. I would say that they are the organization that is the most known, most recognized, and they kind of regulates the way coaching works. But even that, there's no official regulation of coaching. But if you do choose a program, it's good for it to be certified or recognized as a good coaching program through the International Coaching Federation. My certification program has been recognized as being a good program from ICF. That really did make me feel better about choosing that specific program, but the industry is still not regulated. That's why different coaches may approach it in a very different way. Yeah, that's a difference. As a therapist, it's a very regulated industry. In coaching, it is not. So just something to keep in mind. Let me give some examples of when it may be helpful to see a therapist versus when it may be helpful to see a coach. If you're going through these type of issues, you probably want to check out a therapist. If you are having issues dealing with daily functions and just regular day-to-day tasks, you may be suffering from some type of mental illness and would benefit from seeing a therapist versus a coach. For example, let's say you're very depressed and you can't get out of bed, you have a hard time taking a shower, you have a hard time building even the most basic of relationships because you've been through a trauma that has impacted how you view and trust people. That's more of a therapist type of situation. As opposed to a coach is like, let's say you're someone who's functioning normally, you're able to do kind of those basic day-to-day tasks, but you're just trying to step it up a notch and reach your ideal state or your ideal situation. I would say that's what a coach would be more focused on. If you're having issues that is harming yourself or others, whether that be physically or strong emotional harm, that's a situation where you would see a therapist over a coach. Also, if you are engaging in any type of abusive relationships, or whether it be you're abusing someone or someone is abusing you, that's more deep-rooted trauma, and that's when you would go to a therapist over a coach. I hope that paints a clearer picture. So now let's look at when you would see a coach as opposed to a therapist. And I do understand that some therapists help individuals with these issues that I'm going to mention as well. Let's say you are struggling with something deeper A therapist may help you with that, along with what I'm going to mention now. Let's say you have a circumstance and you are seeking a change. You are feeling stuck or, ineffective in your life right now. Yeah, life is okay. It's just, I want my life to be more than okay. I want to live my ideal life. That would be a situation where you want to see a coach. I know it's not always clear or like black and white around when to see a coach, when to see a therapist. So hopefully this helps, but I'll just say I don't know everything in all of my videos. I'm speaking from my perspective, from my knowledge base, but please do your own research as well, because I know there's so many different types of coaches. There's so many different ways you can coach. There's so many different ways you can do therapy. So oftentimes it may overlap. In my coaching class, I know there's someone who does like crisis coaching, which, oh my gosh, I personally wouldn't want to get involved in that because I feel like it's a sticky situation. I would just constantly question my experience and background and wonder if I was qualified to handle these type of situations. But I don't really know much about what she does. I just know she calls it crisis coaching. But I hope this video helped you to understand the differences a little bit. Like I mentioned, I think coaching is a good route for social workers if they're interested in, let's say they're not interested in therapy, but they do want to help people to better their lives. I think coaching is a nice thing to have in your toolbox as a know-how. I know me, why I wanted to do coaching is because I do see myself in a director or where I'm going to lead a team of employees around a goal. And I think having this skill set of how to coach will help me in those situations. And also, I have so many questions that I get from my viewers that I don't think I can answer in the comment section of a YouTube video. I think it is a good skill for a social worker to have, even if you are a therapist. I think different things that I'm learning in my coaching certification program could be helpful for you to integrate into your practice as well. So I know I heard that there's some therapists who don't like coaches or feel that coaches are stealing their shine, or I don't know. I know one reason that may be, or one reason there may be some drama there, is because there may be clients who are more likely to see a coach over a therapist because therapy is still stigmatized. Some people are still ashamed to admit that they're going to therapy, or even to admit to themselves or to know within that they have to see a therapist. I wish that stigma with therapy would change, but there is still a stigma today. I just want to say that therapists know, like, there's no competition between what I do and what you do. I am super open to referring clients out to a therapist if anything in their language shows me that they could benefit from that. What we're doing is two different things. I don't think there should be any type of drama between the two, because there are a lot of coaches out there doing work that is a little bit unethical and putting themselves in a position of a therapist when they shouldn't be. I don't think that's right. I think coaches need to understand that there are certain limitations to the practice of being a coach, and that's okay, because that's why we have different type of professionals. Definitely, when you are looking for a coach, make sure that the coach is not doing any unethical practices that you feel is not appropriate. Like, definitely stop the relationship right away. And also make sure you understand your coach's background, schooling, whether they went through a coaching certification program. If you're seeing a coach, they don't have any structured schooling background, and they're trying to diagnose you as being bipolar or something, like, no, step back. That may be a red flag. If you're okay with it, like, okay, go through with it. But I know me personally, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. So just make sure you know the background of your coach. But anyways, yeah. So this video is getting really, really long. So I hope this answered your question. Subby out there. And I hope you guys are going to be able to join my giveaway. I look forward to working with one of you guys through a free coaching session. So thank you all so much, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.